So, welcome to the Helix webinar series. Today's session is on Ask the Experts. It's around the session of IpaaS and multi-cloud broker. This is the second session we've done. The last session was back in January, and that was for our EMEA and US region. So today we're focusing on APAC and India time zone. So I'm delighted to be joining today and also with a team of experts. So firstly, we'll just do our introductions. My name is Samantha Hudson dos Santos Figueira. I work as a program manager at BMC. Many of you may have seen me before with webinars and other hosting events. This is a slightly different format because it will be you bringing your questions to us. We do have a few that came through yesterday, which we'll go through some of those questions for the purpose of the rest of the audience. And then if you have any questions, just a reminder to use the Q&A section of Zoom. If you put your questions in there, or for more interactive, raise your hand or come off mute. So with that, I'm now going to hand over to Rajesh to do his introduction, and we'll just go around table and then we'll get started. Rajesh, if you want to intro.
Hey, thanks, Sam. So my name is Rajesh. I am Rajesh Rane. So I'm based out of Pune. I am like 5 years old in BMC, and I've been a principal product manager managing Helix IpaaS. Cody.
Cody Dean, I'm a solution engineer for the BMC Helix portfolio. My primary focus is on our operations management solutions as well as our integration platform.
Thank you, Vinayak.
Hey, hi all. My name is Vinayak Korpe, and I am working with the IpaaS engineering team from last 4 years. Last one.
Fantastic. Ashwant.
Yeah, hi, my name is Ashwin. So I was working along with Vinayak on the development team for IpaaS and the multi-cloud broker. Yeah.
Wonderful, Nathan.
Nathan Bachnick with Jitterbit. We partner with BMC to bring Helix IpaaS to the market, based in the US, and been with Jitterbit for almost 9 years. Darsh?
Thank you, Nathan.
Hi, Darius Suraj. I'm based out of Johannesburg, South Africa. I've been with the business for the past 3 years, serving the capacity of a customer success architect, core focus on IpaaS integration and realizing success on the platform.
Wonderful. So joining us today is different regions and different time zones. So thank you everyone for joining, and hopefully for our participants today, this is going to be useful. So I think to get us started, just why you think of your own questions as well. We had a couple that came through before, and I know the first one that we got was around key considerations when deciding to use private agent vs the available cloud agent. I don't know from the team who can kind of answer that question first.
I'll start, and then if anyone else on the panel wants to chime in, because there's a few different considerations. Really, so for those who maybe don't know, the agents are the runtime of Helix IpaaS. So you can choose to either use the cloud agents, which are hosted by Helix IpaaS, or you can use a private agent, which then gets hosted somewhere in your own network. That could be on a virtual machine in a closet at the end of the hallway, right? So, but it's privately managed by the end customer. Really, the main decision criteria, first and foremost, is what applications are you connecting to and where are they hosted? So for example, if we're connecting a SaaS version of Helix to ServiceNow, then we can use the cloud agents because both of those are publicly accessible on the internet. If we have an on-premise system on the other side, so we've got Helix, even if Helix is still SaaS, then we've got on-prem Jira for in our architecture, then we're going to want to consider using private agents, because private agents can make that secure connection to that on-premise Jira without opening any ports, without doing any whitelisting, of course, unless your network requires it. But it's a much more secure connection. If you were to use the cloud agents for that, you would be opening ports, and it's just something we don't recommend.
Yeah, if I can just add on to that, distinguishation between our cloud agents and our private agents is again with private agents, you have the localization of data. So anything that's executed on your org or any operations that are running, you know that you have that data processing on your private agent within your infrastructure on your network. It also gives you local version of control where you do have access to those logs locally. You do have access to that data, whatever is processing. With the cloud, you still have the same functions and features. You still have access to see some of the log data, but it's also understanding where your data is going to be stored. So sometimes you don't have the option to go to the cloud and you then run privately. As well as with private agents, you then also can source and spec your local VM. So from one aspect, I can size it to my CPU and RAM considerations dependent on my workload, so it can scale. And on the other hand, if I wanted to use containerization tools such as Docker, we do offer images whereby you can run the agent in a container and manage the containerization from that aspect. It's just other key factors depending on what your specific implementation needs to cater for. You can then make the decision between cloud versus private.
Great response. Thank you for that. And obviously to our attendees, if there's anything else that you want to ask around some of these questions that have come up, please come off of mute. Another question, and probably the first one I should have asked actually, because it's probably a good icebreaker, was what is the relationship between Helix IpaaS and multi-cloud broker? Maybe a question for Rajesh, Nathan, and actually Cody, if you wanted to contribute.
So I'll take it first, and then Cody and others can chime in. So multi-cloud broker is an application that is built on Innovation Studio. It is basically a ticket brokering app. So it's a purpose-built solution for ITSM ticket brokering. So when you have like incident, change, problem, work order, or known errors, and these are all record types in ITSM, you have an equivalent representation in a third-party system. So our goal over here is to offer a differentiated, integrated solution out of the box from BMC. And that offering is called as multi-cloud broker. Correct. And then we have Helix IpaaS. Helix IpaaS is a solution that is built on Jitterbit. So it's an OEM product from BMC, and I think Nathan can talk more about it. But before I just wind up on this, so the important takeaway from this is like we had a service called as Helix integration service, and Helix IpaaS has replaced integration service. So we have already announced end of life for integration service. So any customers who are using integration service, and they also had multi-cloud broker, by the way, integration service supported multi-cloud broker. So now those customers will have to move to Helix IpaaS, which is our preferred choice for integrations across BMC now. So that's just a important thing to note about. So his goes end of life by 3rd of December 2025, and before that, customers who are on his have to migrate to Helix IpaaS. Nathan, you want to talk about Helix IpaaS a little bit more in detail?
Yeah, just to add on to that, I think we just mentioned, Helix IpaaS is powered by Jitterbit. So that's the relationship that Jitterbit and BMC have in bringing that product to market. I guess maybe is a more simple explanation on the relationship between MCB and IpaaS that I guess resonates with me is Helix IpaaS is the plumbing that makes all the connections happen in MCB. MCB has quite a few, MCB being multi-cloud broker, has quite a few features that the team has built into that product. I think built on Innovation Studio, right out of the box, and there's integrations that are available right out of the box. Those integrations run through Helix IpaaS to facilitate the movement of data. Whether we're talking about Helix and Jira or Azure DevOps or I guess a litany of others. I think there's quite a few pre-built integrations that already exist for multi-cloud broker.
The one thing I will
Great,
add,
thank
kind
you.
of as how I usually explain it to customers is when you think about the integration platform, sending data back and forth, multi-cloud broker gives us a place to put stateful data So we're not having to continuously make calls when we do things like click on the Smart IT panel to pull up external ticket information. We can query that locally, keep that local table up to date with the information in that third party, and it just becomes more efficient. You're reducing the number of external calls at that point. So again, that multi-cloud broker component adds a little bit of statefulness to the overall integration, which we would have otherwise had to do in ITSM tables or Postgres databases and things like that traditionally when we were building out integrations.
Great. Thank you, guys. Good concept between all of you. Again, if anyone wants to contribute from the attendees and you've got any further questions, please obviously put them into the Q&A or raise your hand or come off of mute. So another question that we got as well. Oh, sorry, go on.
Sorry, Abhijit has raised his hand.
Okay. Yep. Abhijit, do you want to come off?
Yeah, thanks. Sorry, just get a little confused when they did the last explanation. So both the tools I understood are sufficient individually, and they can so if we we think of a solution with using multi-crowd. What would be the possibility perhaps that will be restrict us from using that and going to the Jitterbit connector thing? Is there? I'm thinking from the perspective that because I may have to put extra cost and extra integrations I'll have to build for in Jitterbit connector if they can be served from the multi-cloud itself. Are they the same product with different capabilities?
Yeah, they're essentially the same product. Not all templates that are IpaaS or Jitterbit require multi-cloud broker. Multi-cloud broker is not required for all use cases or you to be able to use Jitterbit or IpaaS. But for a lot of our templates that do ticket brokering, because they require that additional functionality with the tables and the minor workflows that happen in the multi-cloud broker piece, we require multi-cloud broker for a subset of our templates that usually facilitate, like I think Rajesh mentioned it earlier, those ticket brokering scenarios. Rajesh, I don't know if you want to add anything else to that.
No, I think that is what we had. It is not a mandatory thing that you have to buy multi-cloud broker. It is more of an optional service. You can do most of your stuff with the Jitterbit platform. But the other thing that the multi-cloud broker offers is like it offers retries multiple times, correct? So if you had a network glitch in between, correct, and you've had a ticket system from ITSM to Jira, correct, and in between there was a network glitch, correct. So the retry mechanism is something that is like there are certain customers like banks, correct? They want all tickets to be created, that there should not be a lag or anything, correct? So this, as Cody was mentioning, right? So this has this persist those events for a certain amount of time if there is a network glitch, and when the network comes up, it will try to resend those events to create tickets into third-party solutions. So that is what a differentiation that we have with multi-cloud broker.
Yeah, and the other component, I don't know if you've seen it in action, but a lot of the integrations will give you that external panel that's in the Smart IT, and that's pulling that information again right from the multi-cloud broker tables. So if your service management team can get external access to those external tickets like the Jira or if you have ServiceNow or whatever the integration might be, right from within the ticket itself or the change request itself, which is extremely useful for keeping the users in the tool of their choice. And that's all facilitated by the multi-cloud broker component.
Just a quick follow-up question on this. Is there a BMC strategy around both the products to take one forward? And because like in integration services, we had a couple of integrations set up, and now we have to migrate them in IpaaS. Asking from that perspective, that since two products are supporting the same thing, is there any futuristic thought that we will take this one forward and not the other one? So
yes. So Abhijit, I'll take this up. So we had stopped development on the Helix integration service long time back. So there is a public announcement that we made around 2 years back saying that we will not be doing any net new development on Helix IpaaS, on the Helix integration service. And our go-to preferred solution in the future would be Helix IpaaS, correct? So in terms of investment that we are making today, correct? So we are actually doubling down our investment on Helix IpaaS and multi-cloud broker. And as I said, that will be the preferred integration service of our choice for the customers that we have both on ITSM and ITOM side of BMC. So yes, we had to move, or we have to do end of life of HES, but the preferred solution going forward is Helix IpaaS. We are not investing in any other third-party solutions right now. It is only Helix IpaaS for all our integration services. If you see most of our ITOM use cases or ITSM use cases, and if you want to correct anything from like any BMC to any third party or third party to third party, it will be a Helix IpaaS solution.
Yeah, just to follow on to that, I think the way to look at it is Helix IpaaS and multi-cloud broker are complementary. So you can use multi-cloud broker. If you use multi-cloud broker, you need Helix IpaaS. However, you could run Helix IpaaS without multi-cloud broker, if that's a simple way of stating their relationships. But at the end of the day, all of the integration data movement is facilitated by Helix IpaaS on the back end.
And there's reasons why we do that. I mean, the core reason why we do that and hand those external communications off is because it lets the Jitterbit platform handle those connections to those third parties, so BMC is not having to maintain and manage them with potential, competitors of ours. Whereas the Jitterbit platform manages that with their huge collection of connectors, and they have the relationships with those companies as well. So there's a benefit for keeping them up to date and managed and working on the third party end as well, because it's not just a BMC solution. That was one of the benefits of us investing and partnering with the Jitterbit platform rather than building something of our own.
Jet, does that answer everything for you?
Sounds good. Thank you. That helps.
A lot of information, yeah. And actually that leads on to one of the other questions that we did get around what is the difference between a connector and template. So it might be worth just explaining that. I'm not sure if Cody, you wanted to answer that, or Vinayak.
Yeah, I can start it. I mean, so when you start using IpaaS and we start talking about IpaaS, there's the Jitterbit connectors, which are the third-party connectors, or the BMC provided connectors for ITSM, operations management, or business workflow, whatever it might be. And in those connectors, you have different actions. So, for the ITSM connector, you'll have query, create change, create incident, all of the different actions that are within the particular connector. Those connectors are managed and maintained and have the connection string, the connection information, and again, those actions inside of them. Templates, and so connectors are what you use to build the integrations. You have inbound and outbound communication, you use the mapping. Templates are BMC provided content that have a pre-built template or pre-built integration bundled for you to be able to go in there, deploy quickly. You import the template, you change some parameters, you run it. In most cases, you run what we call enable integration, and that goes out to the third party, configures the webhooks, configures additional tables, permissions, whatever it might be that's needed on those third-party endpoints, configures the webhook that needs to be created in ITSM, and all of the different components that need to be happening. And then at the end of the day, you get a working integration that you can then go start leveraging quickly without having to have any, developers in there building out any code or anything like that. So that's the real difference, is that BMC provides those templates. BMC also provides those BMC connectors, but then there's a whole bunch of other connectors for a ton of different third parties that Jitterbit also provides. And I think, Nathan, you talked about it earlier with being able to either deploy those in the cloud or be able to deploy those on-prem with the private agent. But it allows you to quickly and easily get up and running without having to go out there and do a bunch of in-depth research around APIs or having to have any expertise in those third parties, because you have all of the actions right there at your fingertips in the connectors. I don't know if anybody else wants to provide any other insight into that.
No, I think you have covered everything. I think Abhijit has some query. He has raised his hand.
Oh, I think
No,
we
sorry,
had
there was
dropped it
some
from earlier.
previous question. Sorry.
Oh,
Vinayak, did you have anything else that you wanted to add
no,
to
no, I
that
think
last question, or?
Abhijit covered everything.
Okay. So another question that also came in was, what is the best practice for changing templates? Someone wanted to avoid rewriting an integration every time a new feature was released. I don't know who wants to take that question.
I can start. I mean, so from the background of coming into BMC, having ran an integration team in the past, one of the challenges was having to worry about the integrations breaking when things get upgraded. The nice thing about the IpaaS platform is that everything's template based. You import the template, you configure it, and then you have those connectors that are kind of what maintain and manage the connection to those third-party endpoints. So if something significant happens to, say, the Jira API, the connector itself is going to get the connection string updated, and you can go out there, and if you need to refresh the schema or whatever it might be, you don't have to rework the entire integration. If we publish a new template, you can absolutely go out there, import that new template, put the new information, put your variables in and so on and so forth. I kind of recommend that if your integration's working and you don't have any need for that new template, maybe the functionality in that new template fixes something that a customer had, or it's a new feature that somebody requested. But if it's not something that needs to be done in your environment, then take a close look and to see if you even need to upgrade to the next version of that particular template. But if you do, you can easily, import it in and copy the variables over and so on and so forth. One thing that's nice about the templates themselves is if you're going in there and doing modifications, there is a whole kind of code management or version management built into the platform itself as well. So if you make a change on Friday and you come in Monday morning and find out that something broke over the weekend, you can go back in and see who made the change on Friday, and you can actually revert that right from within the tool itself. It's kind of a little, I love showing it to all the customers because people don't often realize that's in there. So if you need to be able to make changes, there's the ability to track those as well throughout your life cycle of your integration, which is nice. Rajesh, Nathan, I don't know if you want to add anything else around how do you maintain, the functionality as we upgrade connectors and we upgrade the templates themselves.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add, and maybe Darius has got other thoughts. I don't want to put him on the spot if you don't, but there's other features within the platform that we can offline get into, but things like copy and paste. So you can copy from one project into another. So if there's a piece of the template that got upgraded that you only want to take that piece, you can copy and paste that into your existing project, maybe in your dev environment, test it out, and then promote that up. There's also a new feature coming with selective import. So you can bring in just pieces of some project, whether that's a template or some other sample project that you have. I don't know you all's background, if you're customers or partners, but thinking about, hey, I've done this before, I want to bring this error handler in for all intents and purposes, let me just bring just this piece in into my project. So there are some other things in there you can do to manage the project and only change the pieces that you're looking to change.
Yeah, maybe if I just add to that, just building on what was said, is number one, when we are talking a bit about best practice, it's good to stay close to the changes or the updates that come to templates or connectors. So when I'm trying to make the decision is, do I upgrade or do I stay, does the change in the template or does the change in connector have any beneficial value, i.e. there's a new authentication mechanism or there's a new flow that adds value to my business or work process, which helps influence the decision whether I do or do not make that upgrade. So that's important to always think about is, okay, I need this new feature, therefore I'll do it. And then the idea of what I've seen in practice from a lot of customers is that templates give you the basis or the foundation to build out and streamline what you need and how you need it in terms of achieving a specific objective. But over time, obviously, you would then evolve that into something more specific to your business use case or what is specific to your company as a whole. And the idea is that from that, and building off what Nathan said, is you have your template and you customize it, make it your own to your process, and over time evolve that, whether that's migrating specific components or aspects or updating other versions. You can own that and make sure as the life cycle of whatever features you do need, or whether it's new business requirements, you help implement that and keep that template moving forward. If that makes sense.
Thank you, guys. Abhijat, I see you have your hand raised again. Did you want to ask anything related to the discussion we've just had, or have you got a new question?
Yes. Yeah, the related to this only. That was regarding the licensing. So, like for example, there are a number of connectors which we can make based on the license we have. So, the two part of my question. One is that I wanted to understand that is there a limit on the templates also, that sort of limit, and yeah, the first question is like more with the previous discussion which we had, like connector versus template. So, for example, if I see template as there's a template for CrowdStrike integration, but there is no connector for that. So would it be the way that I will have to create a custom connector, like API connector or REST connector, and then use those templates from CrowdStrike and to build that connector? Yeah, these two.
Yeah, I could take a first stab at that. I guess a couple of them. So in the template, part of the template has the connectors that are needed to execute that integration flow. So in the CrowdStrike template, for example, there will be a REST endpoint that's configured for CrowdStrike. So you'll need to obviously use your CrowdStrike credentials to connect to CrowdStrike, but it would use what we call an HTTP connection through the platform. So custom is, you could say it's a custom connection, but it's really just a restful connection. But that's packaged in the template itself, right? So you'll be prompted within the template to configure the connectors that it uses. Within the pane of that project, you'll see on the right all of the connectors that are used. So you'll have to go and either through if it's configured through variables, you can fill that out through the variable screen, or you can configure it directly in the connector itself, depending on the configuration that's been pre-configured in that template. I don't know if anyone else wants to expand upon that explanation, and hopefully that at least addressed it to some degree.
That is another. Thanks. Yeah, for the second part, it is. Is
And
there a
then
limit on that?
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the same thing, was just repeating that. Is there a license based on what template we can search also?
Yeah, so there's, I guess that's a kind of a two-part answer, because the licensing of Helix IpaaS is based on endpoints, and those endpoints are the ones we're considering there are the ones that are configured in production. So you use CrowdStrike, for example. CrowdStrike would be considered an endpoint. So I think the base SKU comes with 3 endpoints. So if we're connecting to CrowdStrike using that template, we're connecting to Azure DevOps using that template, and we're going to connect to what's another one? Jira, right? So then Jira, CrowdStrike, and ADO are the endpoints. All right, so that would be let's say the licensing from a Helix IpaaS perspective as far as endpoints go. On the template side, templates are licensed in 2 different ways. You can either purchase MCB, which comes with a multi-cloud broker, which comes with the templates that are specifically related to multi-cloud broker, or there's also a template bundle that you can license, which then has all of the templates that are not related to multi-cloud broker, right? So, and I believe, and Rajesh or someone from the BMC team correct me if I'm wrong, assuming that there's enough Helix IpaaS capacity, right, licensing wise, it doesn't matter how many of those templates a customer then deploys.
That's correct.
So hopefully that was
Yes, thanks for your answers.
helpful.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you for your questions, Abhijat. And the same, if anyone else has got any questions, feel free to raise your hand as well. Okay, one other question that we did have before, but I'll just get to that one, was do we support attachments while updating a BMC Helix ITSM ticket? Probably a question for you, Rajesh.
Yes, so we support synchronizing the description field attached. I think this is a capability that is already GA'd in 25.1. So we do support attachments while updating a BMC Helix ITSM ticket.
Great, thank you. That covers all the questions that we had prior to the session, and obviously we've had questions from Abhijat. Is there anything else that we want to maybe share with the audience today? I'll open it up to the panel, and also obviously if our attendees have got any questions, again, raise your hand. Anything the team want to share that might be quite useful?
I'll say there's a lot of documentation out there that people aren't always aware of. I know Sam, I think you send that out. I think you sent it out previously, but there is a lot of documentation both on Multi-Cloud Broker, and it'll give a nice grid on what integrations are available through Multi-Cloud Broker. Goes into very good detail on the integration flows and how the data flows, what it does, which objects it works with, right? Both in Multi-Cloud Broker and the template. And then there's also a Helix IpaaS community, which gets monitored. So if you've got questions that come up, kind of after we drop and you want to put them in the community, you can certainly do that, or you can reach out to any one of the panelists here, I believe, and we can help you with any specific questions that, maybe come to mind after the session is closed.
Thank you, Nathan. Rajesh, is there anything on features that might be of interest to share as well?
Yeah, so I can talk a little bit more about the connectors that we're trying to build. This is more from a roadmap standpoint. So there were a couple of customers who are asking us whether we have an integration with Tenable.io, which is more of a vulnerability management solution with most of our enterprise customers. So that is something that is currently under dev and should be available to customers in 25.2. So 25.2 is not released yet. But that is one solution that we are looking at. So that's a new template that we'll be building into Helix IpaaS. So that is one thing. So as I said, like we have been continuously building or investing in multi-cloud broker and in Helix IpaaS. I think in the last 1 year from the Jitterbit side, there have been around close to 45 new connectors that have been added to the platform. Plus BMC is also building a few of them. And we had close to I think 20 to 25 templates that we have added in the last 1 year. I was just trying to search the list of templates that we have created, and I'll try to put it on the chat. So there is a question on the go-to forward technology for integrations. And I just want to ensure that the commitment from BMC is that Helix Jitterbit will be the go-to solution. And we have been investing heavily into this product. So I'll try to add, I'll try to share the number of templates that we have been adding and also the new connectors that we have added.
Thanks, Rajesh. Okay, do we have any other questions? I'm guessing we've answered all of our questions that we had. If we don't, we can finish the session early. I don't know if anyone else wanted to speak out.
I just added on chat the templates that we added in the last 1 year, just for reference. It's in the chat.
Chat is not accessible.
The chat is not accessible.
Rajesh, what I can do is I can share it in the Q&A post event if people can't get it. I'm never quite sure if that's accessible. I know the Q&A is.
Yep.
Not sure if there's a way for you to post that in. If not, it's fine. I can share it to the audience.
Yeah, I think we'll have to share it.
Okay, that's fine. Anything else, the team? I know we've got quite a few of us on here today. Ashwanth, Vinayak, I don't know if there's anything else specifically from some of the work that you do on customer environments or questions that come through development. Is there anything that you'd like to share? Like key takeaways or things that you see, anything that's useful?
Nothing much. So I think was already covered. Yeah.
I think just one
Okay.
thing we can add is that the templates which we are providing, those are easily customizable as per the needs. So I mean, even if it is not 100% fit to the use case, it can be easily modifiable and make it fit for the use case which is needed.
Great. Thank you for those insights. Okay. If we don't have any more questions, I will give you back, I think it's like 15 or 16 minutes of your time. Obviously, don't be strangers if you have any questions, like what Nathan said as well. Contact details are available. I will be sharing all of the content out that's come today. Thank you for the questions that we've had in prior and also the ones we've got today. If there's nothing further, I will close the call.